exciting time for everybody that is associated with the program, the community, the region. This is really neat, and I'm proud of our guys. This has not been easy to get here. This started in the middle of February. To be in this position, as we've stated, you have to execute from day one all the way through, clearly, the end of the regional. And our guys have fought, and they've done that, and we have handled some difficult blows and have survived, and the guys have responded fairly well all year. UConn is an exceptional team. They're solid in all phases. They don't make mistakes. They're old. They have transfers, quality arms, very good command of their stuff, limited mistakes, run the bases, experienced lineup, can beat you in a lot of different ways, and they displayed that, and they would not be here if they were not capable of playing that type of baseball, and they've done it. Jim's been running that program in a first-class way for a long time. So they're very good. I like where our team is. Clearly, we've talked about Dorsey and Arnold, and then we'll figure out the third game. Everybody stays on track. Their rest, clearly those two starters worked long and hard last weekend, and it just made sense. Both of them need to pitch, and both of them have to pitch really well. So whatever order it is, it seemed to line up properly to let everybody stay on track and keep it exactly how it was last week. The temperatures will be an issue. It was really warm out there today. It's going to be warmer as we play these games. So this and taking care of the bodies will be important for both sides. I mean, I was out there for 2 hours, and you feel it. You guys were in the dugout, and you feel it. So that's a real part of this. We'll have to manage it. Excited, pleased, happy to be in this position, and know how difficult the challenge is, because UConn is a great team, very clean, very experienced, and very dangerous.
So does that mean Carson Friday, James Saturday morning?
That's correct. Yep, we're going to stick exactly with that. And when you start looking at the rest and moving it around, both of those guys are going to have to pitch, and both of those guys need to pitch well. So on what day it is, it seemed to be determined almost by the length of what they did last week, and giving them the normal schedule of time to do their work with Micah, to do their lifts, and to stay on course. And they both need to pitch well. And there's going to be a lot of guys in that bullpen that are going to have to pitch well to try to get through this.
Does UConn have a consistent type of arm they run at yet, or do they have a variety of things they can throw yet?
They have a good variety, some really good lefties out of the bullpen, and I think the command of the stuff overall, when you look at the staff, you look at the right-hander tomorrow night, detailed command, limited mistakes, quality secondary pitches, multiple secondary pitches in some cases, keeping the ball out of the middle of the plate. They've done it, and they game plan really well. So they pitch you how they need to pitch you in conjunction with what they seem to weaponize best based on who's on the mound. So a really cohesive game planning stuff, matchup staff is what I've seen and how they have managed to get to this point.
Coach, they have a very righty-heavy lineup. What type of matchup difficulties do you have with a lefty staff like your own?
Well, traditionally the right-handed hitter versus the left-handed pitcher favors the right-handed hitter. That's our staff is what it is, and I think when our guys bring their A stuff, they have been able to handle right-handed bats. And they're going to be well prepared for what they're going to see out of our starters. It doesn't mean our starters can't go out there and function. They've pitched against good teams all year, and some of those teams have been right-handed heavy. So management of secondary pitches and command of the fastball is probably overriding the matchup stuff. When those guys are on it and they have a secondary pitch in play, and if Dorsey can get to multiple secondary pitches, he's fared well. When he hasn't, it hasn't gone well, and that's probably the case this weekend. You have to bring multiple things into play, because these teams are very smart and well coached and have been in the fights. So you have to bring the correct warfare tools into battle, and I hope they do it, because the matchup is tricky when you have a lot of righties, and our bullpen's left-handed, dominant for the most part too. So it is what it is. You just have to execute and defend.
Coach, it's going to be a sellout crowd this weekend. I know you talked about just how smart the fan base is and what they're able to contribute, but you're going to have another early game. We know it's hot, but we know that your talk a little bit about having UConn come into this house and how excited you are to have that support behind you no matter what time that game starts?
The fans are the best, and their knowledge of our team and their knowledge of the game overall. I've been everywhere. I've coached in essentially every conference or against every conference and have been out west and the SEC. I've seen it. Our people follow the details of the game, and they've watched good baseball for a long time, and they're going to see it this weekend. They add a dimension to this that's very unique, very unique. And the animals and their engagement from first pitch through the fifth inning, O Canada, through K-time, and all the things that have grown to be a big part of Florida State baseball, they add such a nice touch to that. And every team that comes in here recognizes that. And UConn may not be as familiar with it as some of the teams that are in here every year or every other year in our league. But it won't take them long to feel the atmosphere, and people enjoy it. Our fans are classy. Like, there's an atmosphere, but it's the right atmosphere. So I couldn't be more happy with how our community rallies around our team, and also how they rally around the sport in general. It's quality fansmanship and how they root and how they follow what goes on pitch by pitch.
You extended Connor out to like 61 pitches last week, I think. Just how did you feel like he did in that while it's still building up his pitch count?
I think it has gotten better as he goes. I guess I feel that maybe the first inning, just getting the ball to the bottom of the zone, seems to be something that you struggle with when you probably haven't been out there on a completely regular basis in the same role. So it's nice that his pitch count is up. We got to make sure he keeps that thing down. One swing can change a lot in these short sprint tournaments like this. And I'm pleased that we've been able to wisely stretch that thing out. When you look back at his outings, everything, even though there were different type of roles and situations, I think everything built up almost like you would do it in a preseason setting in terms of pitch count and rest and recovery, and like what we did today, managing some PFP type throws in between the outings and the bullpen stuff. So I'm really happy with where he is, and he could do more because we've followed the protocol of how to bring somebody back. So now he's in position to probably add to the 60 to get you 70 to 75 pitches if needed. Now we'll have to decide how to use him. You might be in a position that you need to use him before you get to starting a third game. So we'll have to sort that out and feel what this is like and how the game moves forward and see how they're reacting. Like the right-handed hitters, we're not extremely deep with the right-handed relievers. He adds that to our staff. So do we need him before we get to Sunday? We may. But because he threw 60 pitches, he's in play before Sunday. If he had thrown 120, then you're probably still in the recovery phase. So we're in good shape with him.
How has the team handled the last 3 days, excitement-wise and pressure-wise, with being one of the last 16 teams?
I think they're really proud and excited. And it's a confident group. I think watching our guys play the game has been enjoyable for a lot of people. They play with a lot of emotion and energy and passion, and there have been times we've run some balls out of the park and you've had some really good pitching performances. I think it's fun, and they've grown to enjoy themselves playing like that. So the stakes clearly get higher, and the excitement will be deeper as you get into this. So we don't have guys that have played in this setting, maybe any. If you have some of the transfers, I'll have to go back through it. But this is unique for them, and they're going to be really thrilled to do it. And I could sense it all week. The details of the game and bringing the best version of yourself to the park and onto that field is still the key. It doesn't matter what's at stake. It's can you be the best version of yourselves, and can you execute the things that are in front of you as the game unfolds. So that trumps anything that has to do with what the game means or what inning it is. It's really purely executional, and you have to be on point to manage a team this talented and this clean. So that, the excitement and the thrill of being here and the newness of this to most of these guys has to be pushed through in terms of just your pure execution and management of self.
Coach, Jameson has been a little bit of a slump in the last week. What do you think you got to do to get him going?
Well, he's worked really hard on some things that he feels with his swing, and that's part of it. And then I think the excitement and what you feel like when you step out there in a regional championship type setting, and clearly in this next step, the excitement of that and feeling a different level of adrenaline sometimes pushes you into doing things that you don't normally see in your normal games. We've played some really neat, exciting games, but it hasn't really been the consequence of your season ends if it doesn't go well. Well, you're here now. So I think sometimes just relaxing a little bit, and he did so much to carry us. I felt like maybe at times last week he was trying to take this whole thing on himself. And the way it went, I think it proved to him, we're going to be okay, even if you might not be at your best for a game or two. So he worked on some things he felt with his swing. He worked really hard in the cage. We talked about some timing, mechanism things, and depth of contact, and some other things that you could see may have been just a little out of kilter, probably based on just pure excitement and having not been in that position before as a hitter. Now he has. His last 2 days were much better, and he knows what he's trying to, I'm not going to say fix, but minor tweaks, and I think he'll be just fine.
You were able to get Abraham out there on Sunday for an inning. Just how important will his right-handed breaking balls be, and how much have you seen him grow this year, just mentally on the mound?
Done a ton. He's grown up a ton. And when you go into these settings, and I think some of the outings he had were really as rivalry-based and exciting as some of these outings could ever be. And then you do that as a freshman, you can't replicate that in anything. And his response to what we've asked has been really good. And it's a specific need. We're not right-handed, heavy, dominant. Some teams are equipped in the bullpen with right-handed slider, right-handed slider, right-handed slider, and maybe hunting for a lefty. Well, just because of the recruiting part and how things play out and who you're able to attract and how it goes, we're more left-handed, heavy in the pen. So his ability to spin that breaking ball and still have a functional changeup and enough velocity so that it's not just a one-pitch right-hander has been very helpful to us at some critical times. There have been outings that haven't been as sharp, but following those, he's gotten back on the horse and he's answered a lot of different requests that we've had.
Tomorrow, is the door open still for Cam Leiter this season for you?
Probably not. Probably not. Yeah, I mean, I guess you get deep into Omaha. This thing looked like it was headed in the right direction, but probably not based on what we've seen for the last week. So it's unfortunate. I mean, I wouldn't completely rule it out, but it doesn't seem like it's lining up.
A number of the hitters seem to have either better averages or a different approach when it comes to 2 outs. In those situations, have you talked about that through the off season, through the season? Is it maturity? What do you attribute?
Well, it's a pitch-by-pitch approach is really the foundation of what we work with from a hitting standpoint. So the outs and the situation really shouldn't affect your intensity and focus on doing what you're trying to do in the batter's box. Keeping it as simple as we can hopefully gives you high-level, productive, consistent at-bats. And if you're getting that from the bulk of that group, you're going to be successful in various situations, and quite frankly, all situations. So I don't think there's any real messaging that we have based on that comment. I think it's their overall toughness and desire to be competent and elite and damaging hitters every time they step in there. And to go deeper, it's really a pitch-by-pitch battle. So we talk about those confrontations. If you want to be a good hitter, it really boils down to just the next pitch you're going to see. And the swing decision, the position you're in to hit, the pre-pitch thought and plan and approach going into that pitch. The more you can function in that capacity mentally with your at-bat, the more you'll handle whatever the game situation throws at you.